Hello everyone, and welcome to my World of Warcraft casual style Let's Play series. I'm Awen, and I want you to come on an adventure with me as we travel through the world of Azeroth. This is one of my favorite games of all time, and I've played it for at least a decade now, if not even more. Not that I really want to admit to that, but it's a super fun game. There's so much you can do, and my history with WoW, I played a lot of the heavy end game content, the very serious raiding, and I was a raid leader and a guild master, and just really got into it. But it got to the point where World of Warcraft became a 12-hour-a-day job, and that was pretty unhealthy. Yep, but it was fun. But thankfully, I've outgrown that, and now what I find is that I need a little break at the end of the day, something fun to do, something silly, just to take my mind off all of the things that I normally do during a day. As many of you follow me, you know that I'm very into the true crime community, and I do a lot of coverage of crimes, both past and present, psychology of criminals. I follow a lot of trials, and that gets to you after a while. That's a lot to have on your mind. So something like WoW, an hour a day or so, takes my mind off that, allows me to relax and have fun doing something I really enjoy. Playing this game as a casual player can be a ton of fun. You don't have to commit to it for many, many hours a week. Pick it up and play as you want. It can be a lot of fun that way. Yes, there's a meme in the community about the filthy casuals, players that don't take the game as seriously as the raiding community, because raiders can get pretty darn intense. That's one way to say it. But the game still has a ton to offer, even if you're not a raider. So that's what I want to do with this series. I'd like to teach a lot of new people how to get into the game. There's some exciting things happening with this game, even as old as it is. At the end of this month, we have WoW Classic launching. Classic World of Warcraft will be the vanilla game back from when it first launched in, I don't even remember what year, but over 10 years ago. That's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of nostalgia. It's very challenging, so a lot of people are going to play that. But the base game itself is fantastic, so let's just get into it. Alright, first thing we're going to do is we're going to create our character. Now, I have every class, every race, max level, but let's start over something new. So, we have a lot to pick from. First thing, we have two factions, right? Alliance and Horde. Currently, they are warring factions. Now, what this means is, if you're in a PvP, a player versus player flagged area of the game, if you're one of these Alliance characters and you encounter a Horde character, you can kill each other. There's a whole PvP section of the game that you can get into later. But it's important to pick your faction first. Now, you can create lots of multiple characters, so you can have some Alliance characters and some Horde characters and see both sides of the world. We're going to start today with Alliance. That's primarily what I play, although I do have a full suite of Horde characters. I don't know, I started with Alliance, and that's where I feel the most comfortable. So, we're going to start with Alliance. Next, you have to pick your race. All right, as you can see on the screen, there's quite a few. We have humans, right? And you can be male or female. Right, we have dwarves, male and female, night elves, gnomes, which are adorable, draenei, which are like space tentacle goats, kind of hard to describe, and worgans, which are a very interesting race because you're like a werewolf, but you can also take human form if you prefer. There's Pandaren, panda people, which are, I love my panda. My panda's one of my favorite characters. And this is the only race in the game where after you do the start zone, you can pick whether you want to be Alliance or Horde. So when you see a Pandaren, as you're playing the game, you don't know for sure if they're Alliance and Horde until, you check them out. But that's the only race that can go back and forth like that. For the Horde side, we have Orcs. Very, very classic World of Warcraft. We have the undead. Undead males are probably one of my favorite races. They're just hilarious. Female undead. We have Tauren, which are the giant cow people. But they are giant. They are humongous. They're a lot of fun. We have the trolls. See, the Horde The Horde races, just, I like them so much more. Except maybe for the male Blood Elves. I don't like them at all. Don't ask me why. Um, Goblins. Goblins are silly. We also have allied races. When you get to the end of the game at max level, you can unlock various allied races. You have unlocked some of them, but not all of them. Void Elves, Lightforged Draenei, Nightborn, High Mountain Tauren. So they're just kind of variations on what we have, and some new ones open in the new expansion that I haven't gotten around to doing yet. So, but we're going to stick with Alliance. We're going to go with Night Elf, Female, and Classes. The next thing that you have to pick is what class you'd like to play. There are a lot of different choices, and they all play very differently. Some are ranged, some shoot magic spells, some are melee, so you really have to decide what you want to do. Hunter is one of my favorite. It's also the classic, how do you say it, the very archetypal newbie class or casual class, female Night Elf Hunter. Everyone's got one. So that's probably what we're going to do for this playthrough, because it's easy, it's fun. You can definitely take care of soloing most of the content in the open world without needing to rely on a lot of other people to help you get it done. So, it provides a lot of good solo play ability. There's priests, there's mages, there's druids. Druids are my favorite. My main character is a druid, and has been since I started. But that's a bit complicated for a casual Let's Play, so we're going to go with Hunter. Alright, after you decide your class and your race, you click Customize, and now we can make her look the way we want. So, first I'm going to pick a skin color. I'm going to go with that. The face, I'll go with that one. Hairstyle, we'll go with this. And color, we'll go with that. Markings, how about... well, that's kind of cool. Alright, now when it comes to your considerations for hair color, skin, all of that stuff, you can change it later on in the game. So, don't be too upset if you decide you don't like it. There are barbershops in a lot of the major cities where you can change everything. Your skin color, your hair color, your style. So, don't fret if you don't like what you see. Now you got to pick a name. Then we're going to hit Finish. And there we go. There's my character. Alright, as soon as I click the Enter World button, it's going to zone us into the starting area for our race, the Night Elves, and it's going to play a cinematic, kind of describing what's going on. So I'm going to be quiet and let you listen to that, and I'll be right back.
After years of imprisonment within the Emerald Nightmare, Archdruid Malfurion Stormrage has finally returned to the mortal world. Reunited with his love, Tyrande Whisperwind, Malfurion endeavors now to heal the corrupted world tree Teldrassil and rejuvenate the spirit of the Night Elf people. Yet as the great cataclysm shakes the boughs of their colossal tree, the Night Elves brace themselves against the coming storm. As war and destruction close in from all sides, it falls to Night Elves like you to stand strong and protect the enduring legacy of your people.
Alright, and we're back. Now, before we just rush off and start doing things, there's a lot to set up. If you look at all of these buttons and things on the screen, this is called your user interface, right? And mine looks probably very different from yours if you've just started a new character. I'm using an add-on, which is an additional program that you can use to support and change certain features of the game. Nothing that breaks the game, but just things to like fix your buttons and your user interface, things like that. I'm using one called ELV UI. As you can see here now, my chat box even mentions it. It's a big add-on that allows you to fully customize your desktop or your user interface to however you want it to be. You can put your bars wherever you want, your character frame, all your information, extra bars over here. I'll have raid frames over here eventually. So lots of stuff. It's a big program, it's kind of complicated, but I can do a step-by-step guide of how to get it set up and get everything where you want it. But for now, this is what I'm going to go with. So don't worry if your screen doesn't look like mine. It's okay. First thing I'm going to do is open my bag and grab my Hearthstone. The Hearthstone does, this is a tool that when you use it, it will cast a spell and it will return you to wherever your Hearthstone is set, which is usually an inn in some major city or quest hub. So you can change it as you go through the game, depending on where your current base is going to be. It just allows you to fast travel, so it's very useful. I like to have it on my bar. Now, as you can see, my bag space here, I don't have a lot of space. Right now, that's all I can carry, and that's really not a lot. So one thing that's going to be at a premium is bags. We will get some from monster drops, but in this zone, they're going to be little 4 and 6 slot bags. Really not useful. But once we get to the main city over here in Night Elf Land, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to send some money from one of my other characters and buy myself some big bags, but we'll get there eventually. For now, we're just going to have to make do. Another thing that you're going to want to do before you get going is hit the escape button, and it's going to open this menu. You want to go to Interface, and right here on the first page where it says Auto Loot, you want to make sure that's clicked and select OK. That's it. That's going to save you a whole lot of time. Alright, so we've got our pet. Hunters, this class has a pet that will fight with you and for you, and you can change them as you go along. Once you get the ability Tame Beast, you're going to find all kinds of animals out in the world. Some you might really like, and you want to keep them with you as your pet. Well, you can tame them and have them as your pet. And different types of animals you'll find will have different abilities and different skills. So there's a lot you can do with your pets. They can really maximize your character's abilities as a Beastmaster Hunter, which is what we're going to be playing. But for now, we're stuck with this pet until we get to, I think, level 13 for Tame Beast. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to load up some heirloom gear. Now, this heirloom gear can be kind of irritating for a brand new player because you don't get any. The only way you get this is to play the game through to the end and farm it up. It takes quite a while. Is that the right one? Agistam, yes. You have to buy it with reputation and all different kinds of currencies and things, but you can get a full set of it, which is nice. And we are going to craft ourselves a full set, and we're going to put it on. Oh, that's the wrong neck. Not that necklace. I got 2 of those. Alright, so if I open my bags again, you see now I've got all this gear that I just made. So I'm going to put it all on. And it may look kind of silly because, you know, that's not the most attractive outfit I've ever seen, but it'll do for now. Let's get rid of that. Alright, so I've got my heirloom gear, got my bar set up, got my pet out. Let's start questing. See this yellow exclamation point? That means the person has a quest to give you. So whenever you see that, go talk to the dude. He wants me to kill 6 young night sabers. Alright, well, how do we do that, you ask? First thing, look at your mini-map. You see this blue circle? Right, that tells you where the night sabers are, somewhere in that circle. And look, they're right here. There's one. So we're going to click on him to target it. Or you can also hit the tab button, and that will target something in your view. It's a lot faster than clicking sometimes, so not maybe as accurate. So we're going to click on a few of these and get them taken care of. There's 3. There's 4. Just need 2 more. This is really quick and easy. One thing about the monsters in this area, do you see how his name is yellow, right? And he has yellow titles. Yellow means that a mob or mobile, which is a non-player character monster, yellow means that they are not aggressive. See how he walked right through me and he didn't attack me? That's really nice for the start zone, but that's not going to last very long at all. Pretty soon you're going to start seeing monsters that have red names, and anything that's red is going to attack you as soon as you get close to it. So be on the lookout for that. Alright, we completed our quest, and he gave us some gloves. So look at 4 of them in your bag, and just right click to equip them. There you go. Very easy. Now we have some new quests, and a new quest giver. Alright, we have to collect some fell moss, and get some stolen bags. And they're over this way. See, we're following the map, heading towards that blue circle. And there are some Grelkin over here, these little demon monster things. In order to get the fell moss, you have to kill them and then loot it off of them. So that's what we will do. There we go. There's one fell moss. Now all I'm doing, because we are only level 2, I only have one ability called Cobra Shot. So I'm hitting tab to target, and I'm pressing number 1 to fire the Cobra Shot. My pet will go up and attack in his own time, because he's slow. And that's it. Just kill him. When they die, you loot them, and you move on. It's really easy. The first, 20, 30 levels are... You don't have to think too hard. Just shoot things. Alright, there's all our fell moss. Now we have to collect bags. So if we're looking around the area, do you see these highlighted yellow bags? Those are our quest items. Anything that's highlighted like that means that you can interact with it. And in this case, it's our quest item. So we're just going to walk up, click on them, and collect the bags. That's all there is to it. There's 3. There's 4, and there should be another one right around this corner. There we go. There's 5. Alright, so we finished both our quests. You see our mini-map changed. Now we have 2 question marks. Those are completed quests to turn in. And the blue circle is gone, letting us know that we're done. So it's time to go back. Alright, off we go to our quest givers. We'll turn in the quest, maybe get some cool prizes. Although this is the start zone, so you're not going to get much in the way of cool, but maybe something useful. Alright, he's going to give us some pants and some healing herbs. We don't need the pants because we have the heirloom pants on. The herbs are okay, but you're not really going to take enough damage in these quests to warrant needing a healing herb, so feel free to sell them, and that's what we're going to do right now. Now, one of the quest rewards we just got was a bag. So when you open our bags, now we have a few more slots. We didn't have these before. Alright, so we got a few more carry inventory spots. That'll help a little bit. But let's empty the stuff that we do have that we don't need. So we're going to go here to this vendor. And this button right here, sell junk. Anything that's absolute garbage, you can just sell right to the vendor automatically. Anything that's not complete garbage, you have to sell one at a time. We're going to keep this malachite. That's a crafting reagent. That could be useful depending on what professions we decide to pick. But we'll do professions later. But we've cleared up our bags, got some more room. Let's go do some more quests. Right, he wants us to go over here between the 2 pools and talk to this priestess of the moon, because she has another quest for us. One thing that I have access to as part of the heirloom set is a mount that you can use at level 1. Lets you move a bit faster, but I'm going to guess anyone who's watching this and just starting to play doesn't have that either, so I'll try not to use it, but I'm going to get bored of running around really quick, so you'll see it soon enough. Alright, we turn on our quest, and now she wants us to pick these flowers that just turned into the yellow highlight so we could see them easier. So we're going to pick 7 of those. They're all around the lake, so we'll just run in a circle. And this is a lake. You can swim in the water. See the breath bar? You have to pay attention to that because you can drown. I believe the undead race does not have a breathing bar because they can breathe underwater because, well, they don't technically breathe, so that's nice for them. Oh, look, we have a graphic bug here. That's not how water works, Blizzard. We'll just pretend we didn't see that, though. Okay, we need 2 more. There's one, and there's one over here. And watch, once we've gotten them all the yellow highlights disappear, letting us know that we're done and we don't need any more. Turn in our quest. And she wants us to go up to the spider caves and meet with a dryad. So let's head that way. Now you can kill all of these things if you want to. A little bit extra experience. But they're yellow, so they're not hostile. They're not going to attack you unless you hit them first. There's no real reason to kill them. They don't give that much experience. So we'll just head up here. The spider caves. Super fun times ahead. Alright, our dryad is going to show up in a second. This has always been bugged. She shows up there, you run up, she disappears, and then she shows up here. I don't know why it does that. It just does. That's okay. Alright, we are level 4 already. Whoa. And I've learned a new spell now called Concussive Shot. So I'm going to open my spell book with the letter P, and this is going to show me Concussive Shot. What this ability does is slows a monster down. So we're going to look at this first spider. All right, now their names are all red. See that? So these are aggressive. If I get close to him, he's going to come attack me. But if I target him from here and hit Concussive Shot, he's going to run really slow. So the chances of me being able to kill him before he gets to me is very good. So use that if you think you need to. At this level, you really don't have to worry about it. You know, they're not going to kill you. Unless you're doing something really horribly, terribly wrong. That is our new skill. That will come in handy later on in the game. Alright, now these caves, back in original classic WoW, I remember doing these caves and getting horribly, terribly, painfully lost for quite a long time, fighting my way in and out of these caves. Over the years, and I think I must have started, probably hundreds of night elves at different points. So I've done this quest enough to know exactly where I need to go, exactly where all the monsters are, and I don't have to worry about it. Plus, they changed it when they redid all the start zones a couple of years ago. They changed this quest so that when you get to the end, you talk to this dryad that's with you now, and she will teleport you outside of the cave back where you started. You don't even have to run back out. So, how cheesy and awesome is that? Certainly saved an hour getting lost in the cave. Alright, now I did something terrible. It's all that I jumped down here. I did that on purpose, because this is actually the way we need to go. But, as a hunter, alright, you have a pet with you. See this blue dot? There's my pet. See what just happened? He walked by that spider and almost aggroed it. When you jump down somewhere like this, your pet does not jump after you. He will run down the long way, however it takes him to get to you. And in general, he will pull or aggro any monster on his way. So by the time he gets to you, he could have quite a train of mobs. You know, I want to say monsters for people who don't play MMOs, but we're just going to call them mobs. He'll have a train of mobs behind him, and if you're in a dungeon group or a raid group and you do that, you're going to get yelled at. Trust me, I know, I've been there on both sides of that fence. So, if you want to jump down as a hunter, dismiss your pet first. You can resummon him when you get to the bottom. Just spare yourself a headache, because that can create some serious trouble. Alright, here we go. We need to kill Githias the Vile, and he's up here. Now see this spider here? We don't want to aggro him. So we're just going to move this way a little bit. Kill this Githias dude. For our quest, kill that little totem next to him. Loot him, and talk to our dryad. And she is going to send us right back to the beginning. Right where we were. And we got a whole level out of that. That's not bad. Excellent. Alright, we're now level 5. Alright, she wants us to fill a crystal vial in the moon well over here. Night elves are very magical sort of creatures, and one of the things they have are the moon wells, which are places of water, sacred water, healing sort of things. They're all over the night elf zones. She wants us to put some of that magical water in this vial, and then she'll tell us to bring it up to the head dude of this area. So let's run over here to the moonwell, which is very pretty. You gotta admit, that's a lovely sight. And inside is this magical water. So just walk in it, fill up our vial, and this guy shows up and says some stuff which you don't bother listening to. If you're playing the game through for the first time, it's really worth your while to listen to all of that sort of dialogue and to read the quest. If you actually read the text of the quest, you can learn a lot about what's going on and the lore of the game and the story. But because I've seen it so many times, I just can't. I can't do it anymore. It's too much reading, and it will slow you down. But you know, for at least one playthrough, you should know what's going on. Alright, here we go. Let's turn this in. And then we'll have to run up to the top of the tree. There we go. Now we have to bring this file up to Teneron Storm Grip at the very top of this treehouse thing. It's a long run because night elves have not managed to build elevators yet because they're too naturey for that. They don't do elevators. They could do a bucket and a rope and pull people up, but you know, I guess they don't do that either. So up we go. Long run up the tree. Yes, it's 105 degrees here today in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. So this is the perfect day to sit inside and play video games in the air conditioning. Because you couldn't pay me to go outside right now. I'm not doing it. Alright, we're almost at the top. We're getting there. Big tall tree. But look at this. Is that not gorgeous? Look at the sunlight through the trees. Look at the moon well down there. This is one of my favorite start zones. I just love everything about it. Alright, we'll turn in our quest. Now, do you see that black swirly stuff around us? He just cast a spell on us. So let's look at our debuffs next to our map and see what it was. It's called the Wind's Embrace. Embraced by the wind, slowing fall speed. Now the reason they added this was right here. Back in original, before they added that, most people would try to jump over that railing onto the roof and get down here instead of running all the way back down the tree. And most people would die because you would miss the roof and splat into the ground, and you take fall damage in this game, so that's something to consider. So they actually made it fun and gave you the slow fall buff, so you can just jump right off the top and sail to the bottom. Because now we have to leave this part and go to the next little area. So let's head there. Alright, there's another quest up here on the way, so we'll pick that up. The first time I played my Night Elf and I did this start zone, and he gave me the quest to go out here, I was actually scared to leave because I didn't know if I'd be able to find my way back, or if I even needed to come back, or where I was going. And a friend of mine was just like, "Will you just follow the road?" I'm like, "Okay, but I'm scared." Oh, that was kind of ridiculous, but I think about that every time I do the start zone. But once I got out here into the big world and discovered how big it was, there was no going back. I loved it. There's so much to explore. Alright, here we go. Now, remember earlier how I talked about that mount? I was going to try not to use it? Yeah, that lasted a long time, didn't it? Where's my chauffeur? There it is. Alright, now actually that should be right there. Alright, see? I've got a chauffeur, this guy, who drives the motorcycle, and I get to sit in the sidecar, and he drives me around. The reason they added the chauffeured version of the motorbike is because you're such a baby character that you're just not allowed to drive yet. So you have someone drive for you. It's pretty funny. I also have a version of this mount that I can drive, and I can take a passenger in the sidecar. So, like, if we were ever playing together and driving around, I could drive you around. But you can't use that mount till level 20, so this'll have to do for now. Alright, that was Zen Foulhoof, by the way. He's a demon guy who's pestering the Night Elves, so we're going to have to take care of him eventually. But first, let's go to town and turn in the quests that we have and do all kinds of town things. There's a lot to do before we jump into the questing out here. So, first things first. This is the inn, and we're going to go up here and talk to the innkeeper first. We're going to turn in the quests that we have, and you have a choice of rewards. Food or water, doesn't really matter, take whatever you need. And then we're also going to right-click on him and make this in your home. What that does is that sets your hearthstone. Remember this little stone we had earlier? It sets it here so that wherever I am in the world, if I use my hearthstone, it's going to bring me right back here. And since we're going to be questing here for a while, this is the most logical place to have it for now. Alright, so let's pick up some of these quests. and talk to some townsfolk, get some things set up. First, over here, one of the first townsfolk that I try to always go to is the Flight Master. Right? This is Fidelio, the Hippogriff Master. And what he's going to do is let you fly around the world to other towns that also have a Flight Master. They will connect on your map. See, right now the only connection we have is Darnassus, which is the main city. And we'll go there in a few minutes, but not just yet. So always talk to the Flight Master, because if you leave the town without talking to him and without learning that flight path, you won't be able to connect there if you want to go back. So, super important, talk to your Flight Masters. Alright, we're going to turn in the quest down here, and we're going to pick up our professions and do the one quest to go to Darnassus, just so you can see how to get everything set up before you start questing to maximize your time, because you don't want to be running around doing quests and not being able to get materials for your crafting because you haven't set up your professions yet. That's just kind of a waste of time. So I always set my professions up before I do much of anything. However, there's a caveat to that. If you just really want to level fast and get to the end game and worry about all that stuff then, that's a perfectly valid way to play, because you can train your profession at the end of the game in whatever expansion you happen to end up in. And you can train it there very easy without having to go back through all of the earlier parts of the game and collect all those materials and learn all those recipes. You can just start at the end and work on that one section. So you really don't need to do this, okay? I'm doing it because it's a casual playthrough, and casual characters do professions. They really do. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, so I got a few cooking recipes. We're not going to worry about those just yet, because Naoma over here gave us a quest to fly to Darnassus and deliver the cooking book. So let's do that real quick, and then we'll come back here, because we do have a few things to do in the city too. So we'll get all that done. So back to our Flight Master we go. Let's turn in the quest, and then he's going to let us fly to Darnassus. There we go. Alright, so you right click on him. We're going to click on the little boot or whatever that is that says Darnassus, and off we go. Alright, so we're flying on this hippogriff. Now, we are not in control of this hippogriff. It's flying on a predetermined flight path. We can't stop it. We can't hop off it in the middle of its path. We just kind of have to sit here and watch the view, which is quite beautiful. I love the trees here. Now, we're in an area called Teldrassil, which is just a giant tree, and this is just kind of like a flattened off part of it. So it may look like we're in, a great forest on some continent, but we're actually just on top of a giant tree. So, pretty cool, these night elves. Alright, we're almost at the flight path, and then we can start our Darnassus chores. We have some chores to do. Alright, you can see that I leveled. I hit level 6 as we landed, which is nice. So first we're going to turn in our quest. Don't run through this pink thing just yet. We'll get there eventually. But for now, let's just turn in our quest. Alright, now we could just turn around and go right back to town. Right back to Dolinar where we were. But let's do our profession since we're here. Most of the starting area towns will have an NPC, which is a non-player character, who will let you pick what professions you want to train right there. Which is great. That's kind of a newish addition to the game. But in traditional or classic WoW, you had to come to a main city and hunt down all of your trainers. So we're going to get that done right here. Now, we already trained cooking, so we don't need to talk to the cooking trainer. But we are going to pick some main professions. Right, first, we're going to open our professions tab. You can hit K, and let's see what we have here. You have two primary professions. All right, these are either a gathering profession, such as skinning, mining, or herbalism. And then you can have a secondary profession, which could be a crafting profession like leatherworking or alchemy, or enchanting, or tailoring. I mean, there's lots of them. Generally, you want to pick two that pair well together, like mining and blacksmithing, because you need the ores to make the metal bars to make the blacksmithing things. Or you can go with herbalism and alchemy, which is one of my favorite combos. If you just want to make some money real fast, one of the quickest things you can do is take two gathering professions like mining and herbalism, because you can pick all of the resources and just sell them on the auction house and make yourself some money. Not a bad way to get started for your first character. We also have secondary professions, which is cooking, fishing, and archaeology. So we'll get those trained up in a minute. But first, we must find the leather worker who's upstairs in this building. Now, if you're in Darnassus, there are signs. When you mouse over, it tells you what it is. Bottom floor is tailoring, top is leatherworking, over there is inscription and enchanting. So you can visit the profession trainers, do a little research and see what you might want to do for your character. I'm going to do skinning and leatherworking because as a hunter, I wear leather and mail armor. So being able to craft it myself is great because I can make some very nice things. Alright, there we go. We've got trained. Oh, we also need to buy... I don't know if you still need to buy this, but you used to have a skinning knife on you to do skinning. But they might have changed that. Either way, we're role-playing on a casual server, so we're going to buy a skinning knife because we should have one. Alright, next we're going to go to the auction house because I need some bags. I am really terrible about bags. I cannot stand not having them, so let's go get some. One problem with this, though, is that I don't have any money on this character, so I'm going to swap out real quick to my other character, mail some money over, and then I'll be right back. Alright, here we are. I have mailed some money. I'm going to open my mailbox. Look, magical money's appeared. How nice. Alright, let's go to the auction house. Now, you're going to become quite familiar with the auction house if you play this game. Right-click on the auctioneer, and it opens this interface, right? You can just search for things you want, battle pets, weapons, whatever. But we know what we want. We're going to go to containers and bag and click search. And it brings them all up, pretty much priced high or low to high for the type of bag. Now these bags, a fell cloth bag, it's only an 18 slot bag for 18,000 gold. I don't understand that at all when we can buy a 30 slot bag for 1245. So we're going to buy 4 of those. That's still very expensive, but the economy in WoW has changed so drastically that most players have enough to pick up a set of bags. So there's all different kinds. There's another 30 slot bag. It's a little bit more expensive. These are 32 slot bags for 16,000. So you could buy a 30 slot bag for 1,600 or get 2 additional slots for an extra $10,000 or gold. Nah, you know, there comes a point where being a little fiscally conservative is okay. So we are not going to buy those expensive bags. Bad enough we're buying these, which is expensive. Alright, so we're going to get rid of this silly little bag. We're going to equip all the big ones. And you'll see our inventory space gets bigger and bigger with each one. Now we have lots of room for stuff. Alright, there we go. We can carry everything. Very nice. Alright, so bags are taken care of. We're going to train up our fishing real quick. And, I think that's it for now, for Darnassus. Train fishing, then we can head back to Dolinar. Archaeology is an interesting profession. There is a lot of cool stuff you can get from it. You can get a lot of pets and mounts and toys and cool things like that, but it's also such a monumental pain in the backside, and I have it only on one character, and I don't think I ever want to do it again. So we might look at it because it can get you some decent experience. But alright, so I trained fishing at the fishing trainer, and I went to the fishing supply dude and I bought a fishing pole and some baubles. Now you don't technically need a fishing pole. You can just use the fishing ability and it will magically create a stick with a string for you, and you can fish with that just fine. I like fishing poles because later on in the game there are some very exciting, unique fishing poles you can get, and I like to use those. So I'm just in the habit of using a fishing pole. So I picked one up, but you definitely don't have to. Alright, but we're all done here in Darnassus, so let's turn this in, and let's head back to Dolinar. We're just going to click on the flight path in reverse, and off we go. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. Alright, let's check out our bags. We have some garbage to get rid of. We have a fishing pole we'll put up there. Our baubles, which are just fishing lures. A belt that we can equip. Alright, there we go. We'll clean that up when we get back to town. That's a pretty... I can speak sometimes. This is a pretty quick flight path, but there are some flights, if you take the pre-arranged flight path, that can take 20 to 25 minutes, literally in real time, and those are crazy. They really are. And there was a time when that was kind of your only option to get from point A to point B, but now, as you play through the game, you're going to unlock all kinds of portals and other things that can get you around a bit faster. But yeah, sometimes you will end up on a very long flight path where you could literally go take a shower, change your clothes, get a snack, and come back and just be landing. So we'll try to avoid those at all costs. Alright, but here's our cooking lady, and we've turned in that quest, so let's turn in this one, and she's all happy. Alright, so we're going to do one more thing before we close out this episode. I'm going to buy 30 flowers and 30 mild spices, and I'm going to show you how to cook them very quickly. You open your Professions tab, which is K or P, and then click the Professions at the bottom. I'm going to put cooking on my bar, just so I can get to it faster. I'm going to put fishing over here, because we'll need that, and leatherworking here too, and cooking fire. Alright, what this allows you to do, first we have a cooking pot right here, so we don't need to create a cooking fire. We're going to click the cooking button, and see we have some recipes that we've learned that we can make. And I bought enough of the materials to make 30 spice bread. So I'm going to click create all. And this will take a little while, because we are making 30 of them after all, but we should get about 30 points in our cooking, which will allow us to learn some new recipes and train some better things, and cook more stuff. If you look at the recipes, you see how they're orange right now? Whenever you're crafting, and there are orange items in your crafting menu, that means you're guaranteed a skill up point. If you look up top, our cooking is going up 1 point every time we cook one. So we're at 14 and 15. Eventually that's going to turn yellow. And when that turns yellow, that means that anytime you make something like that, you're probably going to get a point, but it's not guaranteed. Then it's going to turn green, which means you're pretty unlikely to get a point. And then it turns gray, which means you're definitely not going to get a point from it. But that's okay, because there will be always something else we can make to get our cooking leveled. There's also a holiday around Thanksgiving that they do in game, where you can get your cooking pretty high leveled if you just do that event. So that's cool, but we're not going to wait for that. We're just going to do it the hard way. Right, so we've got some new recipes, but we can't make them yet because we don't have any of the materials, which we'll get as we go. But for now, we're good. Alright, that's going to end this episode, but hopefully I've given you enough information to start a little character of your own. If you want to play along with me, make a female Night Elf Hunter. I'll be going over skills and abilities and how to play the class, as well as how to do all the quests out here. So if you start a Night Elf, you'll be in the same zone that I am. And hey, if you're in game, we can even play together. So hope to see you soon. Check out the game. Links in the description below. Please like and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching. Take care.